gas, West Smoke, boy.
That shit take me way back. Talk that shit like say that. Tell them that I'm coming.
Welcome everybody to TruExact Show. I'm here with Ellie and our special guest AJ Sankofa. You might have seen their team on the Great Food Truck Race on the Food Network. ESO Artisanal Pasta. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Really awesome. So I'm based in Jersey. You're based in Jersey. Ellie, however, is in the great state, and I use that loosely, of California. So I think me and you have a little bond going, and we know that the East Coast is the best coast, not the West Coast is the best coast. Regardless, so the funny story how this came to be is you guys were out in California, Long Beach, or doing the food truck race, and you were shooting an episode, and Ellie happened to walk by your truck and get food, and then she sent pictures. Oh, this place is really good. So I looked you up, and it turns out you were in Morristown, New Jersey, and I was like, this is amazing. Like,
yeah, that's us.
So it's just really cool how you're only literally 15 minutes from where I grew up, and you happen to be out in California, and Ellie saw you. So Ellie, thank you very much for the tip, if you will.
You're very welcome. And by the way, the food that I got from y'all's truck was phenomenal. Like,
I recognize you more than I recognize the dog.
Oh, okay. You're probably the red hair. Yeah. He was also kind of gross looking, but yeah, I was like raving to my husband, and I shared some of the salad with my neighbor. She was like, everyone
outside of the cannabis shop, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I do remember you. Yep.
Yes.
And you wanted one thing, but when you came back, we didn't have it.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I remember what was it? The chicken and truffles we were doing.
Yeah, I had just sampled it. I think it was Matt. Is that the other?
Matt. Yep, that was Matt.
Yeah, you think he was, working the room, and I was like,
right.
I was like, holy shit, this is really good. But of course, I didn't have my wallet. So then, fortunately, I only lived 3 blocks away. So I ran home and then drove 3 blocks because you guys were like leaving soon. So I was like, no, I have to get this food. And it was definitely worth it. But yeah, so definitely need to make a trip out to New Jersey. And it looks like you guys also ship too, huh?
Oh, we're going to be starting very soon. Yeah. So the idea is that with the, with being on the Food Network and getting, nationwide attention, we would start shipping nationwide to really expand the business. So. Well,
I will be your first West Coast customer and loyal customer. So if you have a loyalty program, that would be nice.
Absolutely. Yep. We actually just set it up with Square. So.
Perfect. Okay, Scott. So when you go get my stuff, so I'm going to send Scott anyways to go get stuff to send to me regardless. So that's fine. So how did you pick, first of all, how did you get into cooking and then Italian and pasta? Like, what was the progression?
I just really quick before you get into that, Jay, I take back me and you having a connection. It seems like I'm the third wheel here, and you just have it going. So, I take it back. God damn it. I totally had something. Go on. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, no. As I looked at her face for longer, it started coming back to me because filming for TV shows, there's always a lot going on. But
right.
Yeah, I started working in restaurants when I was 17, senior in high school, just as a way to make make money. And I was working at a catering hall, and a buddy of mine who was a little bit older, he had started working at this new restaurant that just opened in Morristown. It's called Jockey Howell Bar and Kitchen. And he was like, look, like, I know how much you're making at the catering hall. You'll make like triple that here. So that was the only reason why I left where I was at. Started at this new fine dining restaurant. The chef had, traveled to France and Italy and London and worked in all these great restaurants. He was a 2 Michelin star chef in the city. And the whole brigade was just, legends from New York City, from front of house to back of house. And I just kind of stumbled in there. And I was a back waiter, so I started from the bottom, but right away, I loved the rush and the excitement and kind of the push of working in restaurants. So I just worked my way up. And when it got to the point where I was kind of working front of house and back of house, I had dropped out of FDU. I only attended for, I think, like 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks. And I dropped out of FDU, and I was thinking to myself, like, I got to get over to Italy like my chef did, Chef Kevin Sipple. And so I was looking up different schools and whatnot, and I found one. It was called the the Italian Culinary Institute for Foreigners. And I came in to work the next day, and I showed Chef Kevin the school, and I asked him what he thought. And he looks at me, and then he pulls out a picture of his graduation photo from the same school, like a year before I was born. So then right there it was set in stone. We just, you know what I'm saying? I did what I had to do, saved up some money and shipped off to Italy like 6 months later.
Wow.
And that's kind of where it started.
How long of a program is that?
It's amazing.
So I took the master's course. I was there for 7 months, my first time around. And then one of the restaurants that I interned in, they hired me to work there full time in 2019. So 3 years later. So I went back for another 7.
Yeah, I always find that interesting too, because I commend you for I don't want to say bailing on Fairleigh Dickinson, but like realizing it wasn't for you and just following your dreams. Like that's hard to do. That's not easy to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at the time it definitely like, my family and even like my friends, people around me thought I was nuts and didn't get it. But, only how you are going to, only you really know what's going on for you. So you just got to do what you got to do for yourself first and foremost. And so that's what I did. And, it took some time, but I think I made it to a point where people are, happy about the decisions I've made and where they've led to.
I'm ecstatic about your personal decision. If I could, not that it means anything, but I'm very supportive of your decision.
Thank you.
Why Italian food? Just out of anything. Well,
like I said, the restaurant that I was working in was Italian driven, and the chef that I was working for at the time, he was mostly inspired by Italian cuisine, and he had spent time in Italy. So that was just, and we did, we made fresh pasta there, and we had a whole pasta team, pasta lady doing the production, cooks on the line. So it was very much like,
that was Italian kitchen, sounds like.
Yeah, so I mean, this restaurant, you guys should look it up if you ever get a chance. We opened in 2014 and we had 3 different concepts. So the upstairs room, it was a fine dining 4 or 6 course tasting menu. And then we had a oyster bar and a veil bar and a patio, which had like a different menu. And then downstairs in the basement, we had the Rathskeller that had like a German beer garden style menu. So there was just a lot going on. And there were a lot of people to learn from. So it was just like, it was a great environment. But I think overall, like the Italian presence was definitely there. So that's what I went with as far as like where I wanted to go study.
Cool. How much of a culture shock was that being out in Italy as opposed to the States when you were out there?
Honestly, man, like I wouldn't even say it was a culture shock. It was more so like, wow, this is an amazing culture. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't, I was chilling. I really enjoyed my time out there. Like, going from like being here in Jersey and having the city right here, like seeing the exact opposite. I was living in a super small town, 1 stoplight, 1 restaurant, it was great, man. Cause the other part of it too, is it was like going to college in the sense that I was there with a bunch of kids all over the world, China, Taiwan, Japan, Brazil. There was only 2 other people from the States, 1 girl from Brooklyn, who I still keep in touch with, a guy from Colorado, and then 1 kid from Canada. Everybody else was from all over the world, Turkey. I mean, you name it. So it was like that experience too, with like meeting new people and their culture and their food. And like, It was dope, like I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Now, how much weight did you gain out there?
Man, I'm a slim guy, man. It's hard. I gotta try really hard to put on the pounds, man.
Really, the gelato didn't put it on?
It's hard for me. I have to really like meal and work out a lot if I want to put some pounds on. But
God bless you. I eat 1 fucking piece of pizza and I want to fucking, never mind.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that. Ellie, go on.
Yeah. So, that experience alone of just being exposed to all those different cultures, just by going to that school is phenomenal. And then you got world-class training, like from, your story is just amazing and good for you. And that's so funny that you and my dad went to the same school. So then when you got home, when did you decide to kind of branch out and do your own thing?
So that actually happened after COVID. So like basically like I started at Jackie Hollow, went to Italy, came back to Jackie Hollow, back house full time, worked my way up. And then I went to Buffalo after that to work with my original chef, Kevin. Once again, he had moved up to Buffalo to be with his family. And then from Buffalo, I went back to Italy for the second time to work full time for a Michelin star restaurant. And then when I came back, I was working in the city, which is where I met my fiance, Christina. And then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, you know, there was nothing, you know, we got laid off. We came back to Morristown. We were living in Brooklyn. Christina had an apartment in Brooklyn, but, you know, since things were kind of getting crazy in the city, we came back to Morristown. It's a little bit quieter out here. And then like after a month of just kind of chilling, you know, watching Netflix and, you know, walking the dogs, doing pretty much nothing, we were like, all right, let's do something. So we started a cake and pie delivery service that was called Babushka's Pies. So Christina would bake, and then I would deliver, and like that just took off right away. Like blew up in our 3, 4, 5 mile radius. And so we were like, all right, 2 months in, we're like, we could do this with dessert. We could probably do this with pasta too. So, you know, we just COVID, man, like we just kind of jumped out there and just started doing it. We started making fresh pasta, you know, formed the LLC, all that. And just like as soon as we got going, like we got rolling and like, you know, the press was taking off and it went really fast. You know, we went from like just being in the system to like doing our own thing. And then we just stuck with it, you know.
It's so cool. Yeah, you see, it's as messed up as like COVID was, you see a lot of actually good that came from it in that sense. I mean, like even like Ellie and I met through this. We started the show because of it. Ellie has her podcast because of it. If you weren't going to get up and do something during those years, then you were never going to do it.
Yeah, that's
right?
True.
Like everyone's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. You had your year and a half, 2 years. And if you didn't do it then, you're a dreamer and you're never going to do it. Like, so that's awesome that you got up and actually did it. How did you guys get on the show?
They hit us up, man. It was crazy. I just was talking to NJ Monthly about this. They Christina and I were actually having a conversation about like whether or not a food truck would fit into our business plan sometime in the future. And we were just weighing the pros and cons, just casual conversation, chilling. And then at the end of the conversation, I checked my phone and I had a DM from Instagram from a lady who was a part of casting for Food Network and wanted to know if we have any interest being on a Food Network food truck TV show. And I don't watch TV, so I'm not tuned to anything that's going on at all. But I was like, this is too crazy to turn down because we were literally just talking, you know, Big Brother, like they know what we're, you know, they're listening to us now and all that. So I was like, man, you gotta take advantage. So we just went, we went with it. And, it's funny because like, you just said, how did you get in touch with them? Like it never would have been us reaching out for it,
Right.
And it never would have crossed my mind like that we were even on that level to be on TV. Like it's crazy. So, but once it came to us, we were like, all right, well, we got to take the opportunity and make something of it. So.
Boy, what a downfall of DMs you got. First you go for casting, and then I send one. It must have been a real, like, top of the mountain.
My dog, yeah.
Top of the mountain to, like, the bottom. It's like, hey. Yeah, sure, we'll do your stuff.
They're really scraping here.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, to be honest with you, man, like, these are for me at least, like, these are the more valuable experiences, man. Like, real people on the ground level that could really connect, like that. That's more of like we're more of like an instrument for them for their machine that they have going. But this to me is more, it has more value. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
it's personable.
Yeah. It makes you seem like a real person. I mean, obviously you're a real person, but it definitely makes you more relatable. It's like, yeah, you're just not an average, I want to call you an average chef, but like you're a normal human, so to speak. Like, yeah, you're on Food Network, but your head isn't up your ass, so to speak. Like,
right.
Food Network, like you can't talk to me like that, So
now, being from Jersey, and then trying to sell your food in California, Long Beach, LA, a little more laid back. You know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this. Like, how much different was it, like being out in LA as opposed to just the streets of Jersey and whatnot?
I mean, I was in for a rude awakening, man, because I didn't, over here on the East Coast, it's like the vegan stuff is cool, man. Like I've been, like I've went pretty strict and even as far as gone vegan for a little bit in my life, but like, it's not dominant out here, but out there, it's like veganism is like.
There's a vegan option everywhere. Like, even steakhouses have vegan options. It's
yeah. Not even vegan options, like completely vegan, like, and it's cool. Like I'm here for it. But in that particular, when your primary thing is making pasta and everyone is vegan, it's like, you know, it can be tricky. But, you know, we kind of just like, we adapted, and you'll see if you watch the show, like we adapted each episode. You'll see us change our menu or tweak something, or, you know, like by the time we got to Long Beach, we were doing like stuff that was way like, did you even get pasta? Like, I think you only got pasta.
I sampled that, whatever I think your challenge meal was. And then
right.
I got like, you know, you guys were able to go back to making your normal cuisine. And
right,
I got your pot. I mean, gosh, I'm still raving about it, but yeah, I did get to try the pasta too. And it was so good.
Yeah, so it was like, you know, we adapted, and we just, you know, we made it happen. But it was definitely like, I guess more so like San Francisco is where Italian food is more prominent.
Yes.
And, you know, in the areas that we were, it was like people just weren't trying to eat pasta, you know. It just wasn't, it's not Jersey, you know, it's not New York, it's not East Coast where it's like everybody could go for a bowl of pasta or whatever. I guess because when you look at it, like, you know, when people from Europe were coming over to the States, most of them, like, I think the largest place with the place with the largest Italian population outside of Italy, I think is Toronto. So that just goes to show, like, they kind of got here, and then it stopped along the East Coast, and they didn't really push as far as, you know. So I just thought that culture wasn't really there. So that definitely was like, you know, a little bit of a shocker for us, but we, you know, we had some tricks up our sleeve to survive. So
that's awesome. You mentioned that you were casually like talking about having a food truck mixed into your business. How much more difficult was it than you thought, or was it like as exactly what you envisioned? And what goes into the food truck maintaining as opposed to the restaurant? Because you could run out of things. You have to find parking.
Yeah, prepping, I'm sure, in a truck is way different than prepping in a full-scale kitchen.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of big differences, man. Like the first one, first and foremost, obviously, like you're on wheels. So like you guys just said, if you run out of something, you know, I mean, I guess if you run out of something in the restaurant, it's the same, but I guess the amount of space that you have, it's like you're more prone to running out of things, and it's more of a hassle. Like you might try to go and get something and then get back and your spot might be taken.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever the case may be. So there was that. And then there's obviously like prep space. Like, you know, making fresh pasta on a food truck is not feasible. So what we actually talked about before we got that message was like, it would make way more sense for us to have a restaurant first where we were doing all the pasta production, and then just have a team that took the truck out and we're like, here's all the pasta, here's the sauces, go out, and all you got to do is worry about cooking. And that's it. Trying to do both, like, it's not going to happen. So, you know, there were a couple things that made it a challenge, but it was nothing like impossible, you know, like we were able to work our way around it.
It's kind of weird because it's a double-edged sword, because you want the long line, but at the same time, you see it in the show. It's almost mass chaos when there's a really long line for one truck, because you have to constantly make it. And then people are very impatient in the food truck lines. They might leave to go to a shorter line one. So how do you maintain like keeping a time frame and like a rhythm, an assembly line of stuff?
Well, we kind of like in the beginning, man, we were just like, all right, because so I forgot to mention this. We went into the show thinking that like we were going to have time to prep before they like press play.
Shit. And
so the first day, like we realized like, oh, it's just like you get on your truck and whoever's selling first is selling first. That's it. There is no prep time. So
it's like that. Wow.
It takes, so like, you know, think about it. It takes hours to make fresh pasta. Like, you know, you got to let it rest. You got to roll it out. You got to cut it. So the first like 2, maybe 3 episodes, man, like we were just like, all right, we just don't have pasta for these first, like, you know, however long it's going to be. And so we like added other things on the menu to just, you know what I'm saying, to be able to sell.
Right.
So we were just like, our solution was like, okay, we're going to offer other things to sell in the meantime, and the pasta is just going to have to wait. And that helped us and it hurt us, because, you know, some people, the few people that did come up and were like, we want pasta, they would be like, you know, but honestly, a lot of people weren't even like, I think like if we didn't have other menu items, I think a lot of people just wouldn't have come to us, because there were a lot of people who straight up didn't want pasta. So,
yeah, so it makes sense. That, like, anything like quickly that can be fried, like those food trucks do a lot better, quicker.
Of course, yeah, because you just, it's a different, like you said, assembly line. There's just less steps. Pasta, you gotta worry about boiling water. You gotta worry about maintaining the water. You gotta worry about, having clean saute pans and this and that.
Now, Matt, did you put Matt in the driver's seat, or did he volunteer to do it?
It was just kind of like I wanted to have the flexibility of being able to call the shots.
Okay.
And that would have been hard to do from the food truck. It was way easier to do that from the follow car. So that's just how we set it up,
Okay. Because that looked like the most pressure. Like,
the
one driving the truck felt like during the show the most pressure for each of the groups.
Yeah, I mean, everybody had their own difference. So it's like, there's the pressure of driving the truck. Then there's the pressure of being in the follow car, trying to find a space for the truck. Then there's the pressure of being the person doing the money count, trying to, everybody. Everyone
has their own stressor.
yeah, like it, and obviously, you can't really tell that from the show, but everybody had their little load. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Go on, Ellie.
So thank you. So it's funny. So I'm actually from the Bay Area, so it's really funny that you pinpointed and honed in on San Francisco having a prominent Italian community, because it's nowhere near on the scale of Little Italy in New York, but we do have our own Little Italy in North Beach off Columbus Street. Did you guys go up there?
No, first and foremost, I would say like Long Beach, we got the best. We were best received in Long Beach.
I was about to say Long Beach is probably the most receptive to you guys out of all the places in Southern California. Yeah.
It wasn't even a question. So that's number one. Maybe and a close second, Laguna Beach. And a close second. Yeah, Laguna Beach was we met a lot of cool people out there. They were receptive to us. But honestly, like it was like by the time we got to Long Beach, we were kind of really like honestly, like I don't know, we kind of dropped the ball a little bit in Long Beach as far as like making sure that we were on top of the marketing. We were coming off of like a tough city, the last city. So I think that kind of got in our heads a little bit. So like we didn't really tap into like the resources that were around us as much as we could have. Because we did actually realize later on, we found those different groups, like you were saying.
Right.
But at the same time, we left it all on the field. We just didn't do as much of like the prep work as we could have to really get the people out there for us.
Right. And I mean, when you guys got to Long Beach, I mean, I'm not going to no spoilers, but I mean, you guys had definitely been going along and were grinding, I mean, by that point. So I'm sure you guys were kind of just working on fumes, but I mean, as someone, an uninvolved third party, I mean, if you could tell like y'all have been working, but it didn't seem to like really phase you, that you've been grinding for who knows how long.
Yeah, no, it was all good as far as like the workload. It was just more so like the just like I guess have you guys watched any of the show?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yes. Watched the first
like
already.
There was just like, every team had a different dynamic that, like could be more, beneficial, depending on like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you watch the show long enough, you'll see what I'm saying. But it was kind of
it's still reality TV show. I mean, they're gonna have their little individual storylines and drama and
so it just like it kind of, we weren't really with any of that. We was just trying to cook and like meet people.
That's
just regular. So like sometimes when you're just trying to do your own thing and they kind of want like a different, they're trying to create their narrative as well. So it can be a little like,
right.
But
they're trying to still sell a show.
Yeah. Overall, we was just chilling though, just trying to cook the food and have a good time. And that's what we ended up doing. So like, it was all good.
So how did Matt come into the picture?
So me and Matt know each other for like 15 years. We grew up together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he had been working at Whole Foods for like the past 3-4 years. 3-4, maybe 4, about 4 years. And this whole time he was working at Whole Foods, I had no idea he was actually working like the line on the counter, like doing sandwiches and pizzas.
Right.
This whole time I had no idea. I'm like traveling all over the world and cooking and this and that. And like I guess it just because we hang out all the time. We make music together, but we never talked about cooking, I guess, because like he was an athlete, he was doing his thing, and then I was like doing the chef thing. So when we spoke of like what we were each individually doing. Yeah. And one day when after we got approached to do the show, we were like, well, who's gonna be the third person? Because you need three. And like we came into Whole Foods one day. I was just going to bread, and I see Matt behind the counter just like slinging pizza. I'm like,
awesome.
I'm in disbelief because, you know, I've known him since we were really kids, and I just never came up in conversation that he had any sort of, like, I'm thinking he works at Whole Foods, like either stocking or behind the cashier, whatever. I had never crossed my mind that he could possibly be cooking there. And I thought if he was, he would have told me, right? So we had this huge aha moment, and then I was like, well, look, like we got this opportunity, like, you know, are you down to join us? And you know, of course he was down, and he already was starting to work for ESO in Morristown. So he actually manages the shop. So it was just kind of perfect. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got two things really quick. One, would you ever do the show again, or was it like too exhausting? You know?
Oh, I'd do it again in a heartbeat, man. Truly, the experience, like, forget about the reality TV part, like the experience of that was my first time in California. Okay. So like being able to travel, waking up in new cities, seeing new cities, observing cultures, and just learning more about the demographics throughout the world and meeting people, like that kind of experience is invaluable in my opinion. So like the TV aspect of it was never like the end all be all for me. It was more like the opportunity to do something that I otherwise may never have done. Like I may never have taken the path that I traveled going from city to city. And, you know, had I not taken this opportunity. So like, and if you look like just through our journey through this business, or even my personal journey, like there's not too many opportunities that I've turned down. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person where it's like, if it presents itself and it's something that's going to better me as a person or put me in position career wise, or, you know, whatever it is, I'll take it and I'll make, you know, what I can of it.
That's awesome. And two, if I come to your store, because I am 15 minutes away, are you going to teach me how to make pasta? Is that possible?
Take him out of your store. Ban him from your store right now. Just ban him. Preemptively ban his ass.
We're actually we're about to start up a little like schedule of classes.
Smart. That's a really smart idea.
What?
Yeah, I think actually we're gonna try and do them virtually. We just need to get like a camera set up and whatnot, and really hone in on that. But I think we're gonna do like a little series where we'll provide kits for people that they can come pick up in the store, and then they'll be able to just tag along with us virtually and learn. And then obviously we want to offer it in person as well, but we just got to kind of figure out the logistics, how many people, etc.
I should have asked this because obviously I've walked down the streets of Morristown, but is your store like a sit-in, or is it a come in, just grab, or can you order over a counter? How is it?
You know where Jungle Juice is?
Yes.
So we're like 3 shops to the left of Jungle Juice. So you just come in. So we make our products fresh, and then we flash freeze them. So we got the pastas, the sauces, the desserts, the pizzas, etc. And then we got imported goods from Italy. And essentially the model during COVID was, you can get all the ingredients made on a really high level and cook them at home for yourself. Mm-hmm. So you just come in, grab what you need, and then you go home and cook it. So as far as sitting in, like, we're not doing any cooking there. There's no kitchen. We do all that offsite, and then we just stock the shop. Nice.
Okay. I wondered that. Yeah. Go on, Ellie.
What was the sauce on the? Yeah, but I don't know if you remember. I have a picture. That's very weird. But what was the sauce that was on the pasta when I went and got it from you guys? I know that's Parmesan. That's like fresh Parm on top.
It looks like cacio e pepe, no?
That. Do you guys have that in your store?
Oh yeah, we do actually. Yep.
Scott, I want that.
Apparently, I have to ship her sauce, but she doesn't trust me with it, so my wife has to come with me. So I have to supervise because I'm a zilch, I guess.
Oh, you'll be able to order. We're gonna do kits, so you'll be able to order the kits on.
There you go, Ellie. So you don't have to rely.
I'm not waiting for the kit though. So no, you and Diana still need to go. I'll order the kit too, but I want it now. So.
Well, I'm not going till like a couple weeks, but I will be there definitely in a couple weeks, definitely in the summer. My wife and I are going to make a trip. We'll come in, say hi. Ellie, if you got anything else?
What No, I'm just so blown away by y'all's story. I mean, that's just, y'all made a great team too. Cause I mean, you're right. They definitely had their various storylines on the show, and you guys were definitely there just getting down to business. And honestly, as a viewer, I always like those teams. They're like, no, we're here. We're here to run a mission. We're not here for drama. Cause there are those two groups that are definitely back and forth, but you guys were like, all right, we just want to do the best we can and crank this out and, deliver a good experience, which I think is very commendable. I mean, you could tell yeah, who doesn't want the exposure, but you were like blatantly like, we're just doing the food truck thing. But you're like, you're also here to like get your job done and, promote yourselves and show how great of chefs you all are, which definitely phenomenal. I mean, I'm raving. I was texting everyone. I was like, I think I was on Great Food Truck Race and the food was amazing. You have to root for this team. I don't know when the season comes out, but you have to root for these guys because they were super nice and their food was really good. So, yeah.
And Ellie gets mad because everyone seems to be from New Jersey. She can't escape.
No, and I'm like, I mean, how does...
Because Jersey has the most talent in any state.
Okay, just because you have arrived here in Whitney, Houston, relax.
I'm serious. A lot of people leave the state, but we have a lot
Notice everyone leaves. Notice how everyone leaves.
Yeah, because the weather. Everyone leaves because of the weather. That's why. But we do have a lot of talent here. Hey, AJ, man, you've been awesome.
Thank you.
You don't have to say who, but if you could just give a nod or not. Did you get along with every food truck, or were there a couple that you were just like, we don't get along with you?
No, we were chilling, man. Like I said, we weren't into any of the, their activities. Like we kind of were just doing our own thing. Like I said, because I think the big difference was like a lot of the teams like don't really do this for a living. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been working in restaurants now for 8 years. Christina for like 4 or 5, Matt, doing this thing at Whole Foods for like 4 years. Like this is what we actually do.
And it's your life. It's your life.
Yeah.
And I think for some of the other teams, like they may do food related things, but it's not working in a restaurant or having a business where you are constantly cooking for people. You know what I'm saying? So I think that just is the reason why like you'll see like different levels of I shouldn't even say levels, just different approaches to the show and the truck itself. But nah, man, it was all love between like there's definitely a couple of teams that we connected and bonded with more, but that's just kind of it was really mostly based on kind of where your truck was positioned. Like sometimes, like there was no time to try anybody else's food. It was like that busy. But if you're parked next to somebody, you might, you might strike up a conversation with them just because you're right next to each other, but it was never like, we were never really selective or standoffish towards anybody, we were just chilling.
That's awesome. Really cool story, man. I'm definitely going to check your place out within the coming months, buy some stuff. I guess I have to ship Ellie some stuff, which I will gladly do. But
your wife.
Well, let us know where we could catch you, your Instagram, because I know there's like 2 of them. I just want
our original Instagram actually got hacked in January, right after we got contacted by Food Network. Actually, it's almost like somebody didn't want us to go on the show.
Right, you took our spot, so we're gonna ruin your Instagram.
yeah, that was brutal, man. We had like 5,000 followers, which is that's not a million, but it's a lot for a small business. So
no, it's substantial. You're making some type of headway if you have 5,000 people that even want to bother to follow you.
Right.
But so we have the I guess you could call it the original page, which is ESO Pasta Morristown.
Right.
And we have the food truck page, which is just ESO Pasta Food Truck.
Yeah, and I'll put your links up here and everything. And I catch them every Sunday, 9 p.m., right?
9 p.m. Eastern.
On the Food Network, the Great Food Truck Race. Hopefully you guys come out on top. You'll have to wait and find out, man.
Sure.